All right, guys, so it was early release today, so we have about 15 minutes extra time. Not really, we have more than that. But Micah here is going to help me make some fermented salsa because the kid loves Mexican food and he loves spice. So he's gonna learn how to make fermented salsa, which is one of my absolute favorite ways to incorporate fermented foods into our diet because first of all, it's easy. All of these ingredients I usually have either here or growing in my garden, in our salsa garden in the summer. And it's inexpensive and people like it. We eat Mexican food on a weekly basis. We put salsa in our tacos or tortillas. We put salsa in our tortillas. We put it in our breakfast burritos. We put it on rice and beans, eggs, you name it. So a really easy way to incorporate. So Micah's gonna be making a tomato salsa and I tricked him into doing the harder one. And I'll be making a tomatillo salsa, which is gonna be a green salsa. So for our ingredients, what we did was we measured out, we have about 1.5 pounds of tomatoes, or tomatillos in my case. Micah's got 2, well, I'm gonna give you a job while I talk, you can work, okay?
Okay.
That sounds about fair. Micah's got 2 teaspoons of salt, whereas I have 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 cup of whey that I'm gonna use. Micah's gonna start dicing up, these are chives. They're the ones that grow in the big container outside. And we want them, so remember, Micah's learned really good knife skills already, so we'll teach all of you guys. He's gonna keep the tip of the knife down. He's gonna keep his fingers curled for his fingernails to protect his finger. And he's going to rock the knife back and forth to mince these chives, all of them about that size, okay? And then you can put them here in that bowl. So use your good skills, nice. So we're gonna do we're gonna do a ferment of mine with the whey that we made earlier. And Mike is just gonna use salt in his. His will take a little bit longer, but it's gonna still have the same benefit. You for sure want at least 2 teaspoons of salt if you're not using the whey. So I'll have 1 teaspoon in the whey. We've also got half of an onion each. We chose red onion for this, but you can use different kinds of onion. 1/2 cup of cilantro each, which we've already chopped up, and we use the leaves, the stems, the whole 9 yards. We're chucking it all in there. And then we each need about 2 tablespoons plus of limes. So we'll see how juicy these limes are, whether we need 1 lime or 2 to get our limeness on. Oh, and of course garlic, because garlic, all the things. So we each have 2 large cloves of garlic each and a jalapeno. So how's that going? Nice, good job. And then if you have any other pieces that are big, you can kind of go over it once more. So the first thing with the tomatillo salsa is you're gonna wanna make sure you get the husks off. We bought fresh tomatillos, which are easy to come by where we live, and they're really awesome. Perfect, and then you remember how you can pick it up with the knife? Did I ever show you that? So be really careful, and you don't wanna put your hand here because you'll cut your finger, but you use this like a scoop. So be really careful because it's, got it? And then, yeah, don't slice your finger off. That would be bad on camera. All right, and so you're gonna start working on your tomatoes now. I really want somebody to try 1/2 and 1/2 tomatillo tomato salsa. So if you do that, let me know. So here's your tomato. You've never cut a tomato, have you? Maybe?
No.
Yes? No?
Sort of.
So this knife is really sharp because Daddy just sharpened it, so it should be easy. You just slide it this way. See how the stem was down?
Yeah.
And then all you gotta do is make little slices like this, and if it sticks to the knife, it's okay. And then I like to stack them all back together in a nice row, and then do them this way. The reason Micah has the harder salsa is because his is going to be a chunky salsa. We're gonna leave it in these kind of big hunks like this, and mine is gonna be a pureed salsa. Yeah, whatever. All right, so you get working on these bad boys, and I'll help you when we get moving, but go slow. Good, very nice. So we're gonna chop up these. I so get the easier job, you guys. The tomatillos are kind of firm. I don't know what it is about them. I think it's probably what kind of family they're in. But they make my hands a little itchy, so I don't mess around too much with the raw ones. Once they're fermented and all tangy and delicious, it's not gonna be anything weird for me, but I think it's probably the husks, because when I make like green enchiladas, which is one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
It's so good. When I make green enchiladas, I use tomatillos, but I usually use them from the can because I'm lazy. I don't know. Sorry. All right, so we won't bore you with all of the tomato cutting up here. We'll pause for a quick second and then show you the end.
The other ones it was doing.
Our battery died on our light, but we're back. All right, so we are going to cut an onion. We're gonna learn how to dice it. Usually I can do this in about 15 seconds, but we're gonna take longer to show you. So you wanna make this, each one of these slices this way, about the same size. So we're gonna just go like this and look at, stop. See how it grabs onto it? You just wanna kind of hold it down so it stays off. Because we're trying to, that's all right. Just wash your fingers. Curl, yeah, those nice. And then make that next one about the same size. And then kind of use your, yeah, you can just kind of, and then just rearrange it a little bit like that as you go. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So usually with food, that's gonna be like this, whether it's a stir fry or a salsa or a chutney or whatever, you want the, oh nice, you're already done, you beat me. You want things to be about the same size. Sometimes for aesthetics, sometimes for flavor, you want to be able to get all the same things on the same bite. So keep it together like a, keep it together, man. Keep it together. All right, and then you're going to turn it this way and you're going to hold it like this. And now we're going to make a little, so you kind of, it's like going around the world. Look at how my knife is. Like this is how it's going to be. So the first cut is going to be like this. And we want them all to be about that size. When you start getting to the end and it starts getting wobbly, stop and I'll show you a trick. Everything about the same like size. Stir fry, it matters because you want it to cook about the same. Well, careful. Did you cut yourself?
No, I got it.
Oh. Okay, stop. So when you get to that point, when it starts to wanting to slide down, you just let it slide down like this. And now we're going to cut it that way. So yours is already kind of like that. And now you just cut these guys. But this part is tricky, so go slow so you don't lose a hand. And the same with, you know, fermenting or those salsas, chutneys, salads, anything like that. We're looking for the same size dice, whether it's a small, medium, large, chop, minced, or diced. So these are going to be diced onions, and we're going to put these in our, oh, they smell good. Oh, mine is pretty.
I'm going to put mine in my bowl?
Yep. Don't chop your hand off. That's Micah's favorite thing. Every time he's cooking, which is daily in the kitchen, he makes his own breakfast every day. I say, don't cut your hand off. And then it makes him nervous, like he might cut his hand off, and he says I mess him up. Whatever. Okay, so we have our half a cup of cilantro already. I'm gonna layer it so it's pretty for a picture later. I'm getting messy. All right, throw your cilantro in there. I'm gonna show you how to do garlic. Beautiful, except for this. What is it?
I don't know.
What is this? You're fired.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're good. All right, this I want you to take slow. I always say that, but he never does. We're gonna do our garlic cloves now, and we want to get those guys fresh. A garlic press is fine, but it's so much tastier. The garlic doesn't go through that stress, you know, crushing it is fine, but it tastes better minced, I promise. So to get the peel off, you have a couple options. My favorite one is to mash it. No, stop. Don't throw your knife around like that. I'm gonna fire you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like this with the blade facing away from me and the palm of my hand like this. What I want you to do is hit it with the way, a couple of smashes. Perfect, good. Now it should peel pretty easy. See how easy it is to peel, or not easy, we'll determine. Oh, you're done? Apparently the jar method is better. You suck.
Well, I'm better.
Oh, there it is. Burn. All right, so that got the peel off for us, and now we're gonna mince it. So this part is gonna be harder for you, haha. Ooh, smell the garlic. Smells awesome. Don't let him lie to you. All right, so we're going to make little teeny ribbon slices of the garlic. Going slow remember, anytime you can, get a flat surface. So stop right there. There, perfect. The kid knows. So anytime you can have a flat surface to cut something, it's better and you're gonna be more efficient at it. So yeah, get both of the, you should have 2 cloves of garlic. I took 3 because garlic, all the things. Don't shake your head at me. This is the kind of attitude I get every day, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, and so then you wanna make, yep. Good. This is really fine mincing work, so going slower here is completely acceptable. And then once you get it all into little ribbons, you're gonna kind of turn it the other direction, and you don't have to do them all at once, you can do one at a time. And you're gonna mince those bad boys. Okay? What? Why are you so slow?
Maybe don't the first part.
That's right. As your dad likes to say, I have a master's degree in cutting out vegetables. All right, can I help you or you got it? Go slow, slow. Good. All right, you want to learn another trick? Now that you've got it like this, stop for a second. You can do this rocking method. So get it towards the middle, and you can just go. And you want to keep your fingers up and away. And you kind of bring it back to the middle, and then rock. Yep, and you don't have to push hard, just gentle. So for our limes, we always use fresh limes. They're inexpensive, they're delicious, they're always in our kitchen. It's my acid of choice for most cooking because for marinades, it helps denatures proteins, it's delicious. And yours looks so pretty.
Fumes out of my...
Oh, fumes? Do you walk away?
Sure.
Okay, walk away. I'll show them your sweet thing. Look how beautiful and delicious that looks. You can wash your hands with soap and water. Man, you made it till the very last.
Come on.
The fumage. So limes, something to always have in your kitchen. A lot of people just feel like when something needs flavor, it needs salt. Can you see? I'll get the fumes away from you. I'll squirt some lime juice in your eye. All right. So Micah has the hard part, which is hold it with one hand, and then you're gonna twist it. I have the fun one. I know, it's really not, but you know what? It's just the way it goes. So I'm gonna estimate just based on the juiciness of this. If you're type A and you need to measure, you can totally do that. We're looking for 2 to 3 tablespoons of lime juice. I'm gonna say 1.5 limes for my purposes is good. He has a measurer on his, so we're gonna measure it. And it's just something you should always have around. Lemons and limes are fantastic, and if you're doing any kind of whole foods cooking, you just need to have them around. Ooh, that was a rogue squirt. I almost got it in the eyeball.
Mine.
Yeah, this is your big one. Let's see how much you have. Yeah, I think one more is good for you. All right, then we'll go on to the super fun part, which is the jalapenos. So jalapenos are delicious. You don't have to add jalapenos to your salsa.
I love jalapenos.
But if you don't, we won't be friends anymore. Sorry. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. You are golden. That's perfection. Drizzle it on there, man.
Right
Oh,
here?
God, you just poured it out. No, the other way. There's a spout.
What?
It's just pouring out right here. Stop. Look it.
It said pour right here.
I put it on the lid on backwards. That's legitimately my fault. All right, so you've never cut a jalapeno before, have you?
No, again.
All right, so the first thing you need to do is cut off then. Gently. Yep, there you go. And then you're gonna cut it this lengthways. No. Yeah. No. Flat. Always knife facing cutting board. Never knife facing body parts. It's hard when things are rolly. Perfect. Now, stop for a second. This in here is hot. The whole jalapeno itself is gonna have some spice, but this fleshy part and the seeds in the middle it could hurt your fingers, and if you touch your face, it will hurt. So you are not to touch any other body parts until you're done. I like to use a spoon because I often forget to not touch my eyes or that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna take my...
I'll use that spoon.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And you wanna make sure you don't flick any of the juice in your eye or anything like that. The seeds and the middle part are where a lot, like the heat of that sucker lives. And we know from experience, Debbie and I, these are already hot jalapenos. Hot jalapeno. So always find your flat surface. Cutting them this way is fine, but you really want to cut them so the flat side is down, so you have a stable surface and you're less likely to cut yourself. Dicing these bad boys, not dicing, mincing these guys. We want these to be about the same size as the garlic so that we don't burn our faces off getting a giant hunk of jalapeno. You doing good over there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty good.
You can use other kinds of chilies. You can use serrano. I wouldn't use like a chili de árbol or something like that, but other kind of spicy chili like a serrano would be fine. I've wondered about making a Thai, what's the word I'm looking for?
Thai chili?
Well, yeah, I want to use Thai chilies, but I was thinking of making like a Thai, essence of Thai kind of salsa, kind of mixed with like fish sauce and lime as the acid. I don't know. It's probably not a real thing, but fusion is popular, so I could make a Thai fusion salsa. I could do that. I could be the first person to do that. Good. So that's a really good job. If you cut it lengthwise first, it's easier to mince. Because now you've got all these little ribbons, right?
Yeah.
But if you had cut it long ways, like we cut the red peppers, if you cut it long ways first, then it's easier to get into little bite size. But that's okay, you'll just burn someone's face off. You're gonna do the rock method to mince it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, do that.
What's the rock method? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one. I don't even know if that's what it's called, I just made that up.
The rock method.
The rock method. The Rock, Dwayne, the Rock Johnson, this one's for you, buddy.
Yes.
All right, sure. Wash your fingers. Remember, this is spicy stuff, so don't get it in any open cuts or anything. So for mine, I'm going to be not adding this yet. Head of the game. I'm going to be adding my teaspoon of salt to the rest of my ingredients. And then I'm going to blend these bad boys up. Plus a little bit of salt. To the consistency that I want for my salsa. Micah's is just about done. So he's going to stir his a little bit with the salt. This is 2 teaspoons already mixed out for you. Yeah, you can put that in there. And then we're gonna, wait, pitch it, throw it over your shoulder for luck. Like that. It's a thing, just trust me. Okay. Phew. So we're gonna get Micah some more salt, and stop, you animal. And then we'll show you how to jar and do all that fun stuff.
What you do, Mom? Yeah. Mine done stirring?
Yeah. So Micah's stirring his up with his 2 teaspoons of salt, and the salt is, and the bacteria that's already in and on that is going to be what's fermenting his salsa. Keep going, don't stop, keep
Do you
going.
want me to throw these in?
No. No, leave the seeds out. So I blended mine up. I like a kind of, when it comes to green salsa, I really like a thin, more of a puree, but there's still some decent sized chunks in there. So I'm gonna be like bold and brave and not use a, oh, so close. Okay, so for mine, really when you're doing this kind of ferment, it's best to have this airlock release kind of fancy toppers. I don't have any of those because I just don't. But when you all take this class and you give me money, then I'll have money to buy some, and then I'll show you how to use them because they're pretty sweet. So what mine is going to be is it's going to be all the way to the brim. The goal here is we don't want the floaters. I talked about this in my sauerkraut video. So it's a weird term. Keep stirring. You're doing good. We don't want, what we want is a layer of liquid, or brine we call it, between the salsa or whatever you're fermenting and the air. Reduces the risk of bacteria contaminants, things that we don't want growing in there, mold, whatever else. But I don't have that luxury at this point because my I don't have those special airlocky dudes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it all the way. That's not the right lid. I'm going to fill it all the way to the lid, the rim, and I'm going to make sure to put it over a plate. And I am going to because it's as it ferments, it's going to create this seal. So it's all the way to the brim. I've pushed down as much as I can the actual salsa and leaving a little bit of liquid on the top. And I'm gonna loosely, so not cinch it down, I'm gonna loosely put the lid on so that as it expands, it creates its own kind of airlock release system. Unlike, since I don't, you know what I forgot? I forgot the whey in mine. So after I add 1/4 cup of whey, because I already added my salt, that's what I'm gonna do. This one is gonna ferment much quicker, and since we don't have any kind of seal for it, can I borrow that? Since we don't have a seal, any kind of seal on mine, that's how we're gonna use the whey as kind of the starter and to get things going quicker. All right, so we'll get on to you next. So Micah is going to use a cabbage lock seal in his, which if you watch the sauerkraut video, you know I kind of suck at. We're just really finding all of my weaknesses today. That's my favorite. Exposed in front of my children.
I know my weaknesses.
What weaknesses? Name one. I literally dare you.
Daddy.
Oh, he's my weakness. He's so handsome. That was such a good call. You literally saved your butt there. All right. So Micah's going to use this bad boy to get his thing in here. So I'm going to hold it, and you're going to scoop it. Or do you just want me to do it?
What?
Pour it in
you
here.
can do it.
Okay. So we're going to get Micah's salsa in here. And he's got a lot of juice from stirring up all of the goodness with his tomatoes, which are a lot waterier than mine were before I blended the heck out of them. So he's gonna push his, man, that looks good and smells good, right?
Exactly.
I know. So you're gonna use your little baby hand. Shove it in there. You wanna push it down. So as he's pushing it down, good. As he's pushing it down,
Cut.
oh shoot, you should use the other hand. Do you need to wash your hand?
No.
Okay.
It didn't hurt that bad.
Okay, so use your not cut hand, how about? And push it down. We want to get a liquid layer at the top. Yes. That's exactly right. We want our goal is to have about 1 inch of space of air and then a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of liquid above. Oh, look at my fat hand. Look at that. All right.
I think it fits.
All right, so cabbage seal is what we're gonna go for years, okay? So we're gonna make a huge mess here. The cabbage is basically just gonna hold down, look at all the air coming out. The cabbage is gonna hold, can you see that? The cabbage is gonna hold the salsa down so that the liquid, we have a solid layer of liquid between the bottom and the top. That is perfection. That's the best cabbage seal I've ever done.
You mean I've ever made?
No, pretty much what happened was you said I couldn't do it, so then I did it because I'm contrary like you are. So Micah's is going to be good. Mine is probably going to go a lot quicker, like you said, because it has the whey in it. Micah's is going to take a little bit longer to get to the tanginess that we're looking for to get the right ferment. Between 2 and 14 days, really all you need is 2 solid days, and then you can throw it in the fridge and be good to go. We're gonna check these every day and check in with you guys. We'll check the seals on them and see if they're really building up pressure, how it's looking, if we feel like we need to let some air out, or if we just want to, we'll do some taste testing as we go and see what tanginess level you like.
Yep.
But that's really all it takes to make a fermented salsa, and then all of a sudden now our diet is going to have billions and billions more of healthy commensal bacteria that's going to improve our health. Messy high five? So it's just been about 1 day exactly since we started our fermented salsa. And the red salsa, which we just used salt for, is already starting to get a little bit firm. I can push it down, but it's not making that popping noise. It doesn't have a lot of bubblage going on, but the cabbage seal is holding strong, and so I'm guessing that's really helping it progress. This is the one we use the whey in, which should be fermenting a little quicker. And I don't know if you can see it on there very well, but it's got a lot of kind of bubble and fizz happening. But it's still pretty low pressure. Can you hear? We did leave a little bit of a looser cap on there so that a little bit could escape and it wouldn't explode on me, since we filled it right to the brim, since there's no seal and it's all pretty minced. But you can see they're pretty red onion diffusing in there. So day 1, they're looking good. I think this guy is only gonna need another day or 2. Probably tomorrow I'll crack him open and see how it looks. This one I'm gonna guess if I tighten down the lid a little bit, we get another couple days or however long I'm willing to wait to eat it. So, all right, day 1, check. So it's been about 3 days since we let our ferments set them out on the counter. We have our red tomato salsa here. We just used salt, and we used a cabbage seal and made sure the lid was on really tight. And then we had our tomatillo salsa, where we used the whey as well and filled it all the way to the top with no cabbage seal and loosely put the lid on. So as you can see, this red salsa is really firm. There's no clicky noise happening here, and I can feel it's really got built up some pressure in here. Oh. So the green salsa, which I suspected with whey, usually when you mix the whey and salt, it usually ferments faster, but it didn't. So I'm going to give these both a test and see how the flavor is and how much longer I think I want to ferment them. So let's listen. Oh, it's going to be hard. Oh, you couldn't hear it, but there was a nice whisk sound. Yeah, so it looks good. Definitely some stuff has come up to the top. Oh, nice bubbles. But I don't see there's no mold or anything like that at the top. So we're just gonna take off the cabbage seal. Give it a smell. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. It smells just like a fresh salsa, but just a little tangy. We're gonna do a little taste test to see if the flavor is what we like, because that's what really matters. Like, if you go to all the effort to make a ferment and you don't like it, oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so it definitely has a little tang. Coffee's done. It's definitely got a little tang, but there's nothing overtly like sour or vinegary about it at all. So I'm going to put this guy in the fridge, and we're going to actually start using him today. We eat some for breakfast. We have our probiotics there. This one didn't leave out a sound, which I wasn't expecting. Oh, it's filled to the very top. Lots and lots of bubbles in this one. Way more bubbles than in just the salt. And the smell is tangier, so maybe it is fermenting faster. It just didn't get that thing. So this is our tomatillo salsa. Oh wow. This one is, ooh, it's spicier too. This one is way more fermented tasting. Luckily, there's a ton of juice in this, and that's one of my favorite ways to incorporate the fermented foods into the diet. That's good probiotics and this healthy bacteria, is to use something like this much juice and just sprinkle it on whatever we're eating. So like I made salmon and grilled veggies the other day. I would just take this much per person and sprinkle it on their veggies, and it's going to give it a little salty, a little flavor, and it's going to be delicious. And then all of a sudden we've had our probiotics for the day. So 3 days for both of these is enough for me. It could depend on how warm your counter is, how tangy you like it, and just about how much patience you have. But we don't have much because we've been drooling over these guys sitting on the counter for the last 3 days. So we're gonna have some delicious burrito bowls this morning. Eat up our fermented salsa. That was pretty quick and easy.